Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today we are live with a very special guest, Andrea Jenelle. Andrea is a 2023 HOLT Award Winning author whose characters have been begging for their stories to be told, and she is giving them a voice. She's a small town girl who is writing the steamy, emotional, small town contemporary romances she always wanted to read. Andrea's characters have struggles and joys that will resonate with all readers, living their lives while finding and keeping love. Andrea has a law degree and spends her day job passionately fighting for equity for all while pursuing her passion for writing, taking a dream that was once on the back burner and allowing it to fill her soul one story at a time. Welcome to the podcast, Andrea. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
That was like the best intro ever.
I know.
Yes, take your curtsy, make your curtsy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you? Well, never mind. I was going to say that was a good job copying and pasting from Andrea.
I worked it a little bit, but yeah, it's mostly Andrea's work, I think, for that intro. So tip of that to you, madam.
You are welcome.
We're so glad to be talking to you today, Andrea. Can you start off by just telling us a little bit about your journey to becoming an author?
Yeah, so I have actually been writing since I was probably in second grade. I'll be 51 this year. So a very long time.
Holy shit. I thought you were like 35.
I did too.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Oh
No,
my
ma'am.
gosh. Whatever your secret is, let's
I
talk.
have a 30-year-old daughter, so I'm definitely not.
I just say again, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
You need a skincare routine, please. Thank you.
Freckles, which means no sun exposure, right? That's my skincare routine. Yeah. Natural redhead, so always the hat and always like the SPF god awful 200, 300 plus.
Do they actually make it that with that much SPF in it?
They don't. I was being facetious.
Well, I'm like Indian Irish, so like I'm like, I need to get in on that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the most you can get is like the 100 plus one, right? From Neutrogena. So
Right.
yeah. So my writing journey, as I said, I've been writing my whole life. I think my first story I wrote in the second grade was about a giant who befriends a ladybug. And of course I thought it was worthy of a Nobel Prize, you know. So.
I'm sure it was.
And then in middle school, I parlayed that into I would have my friends, I would write them romances with their name, like for their birthdays and stuff, and of course they'd pay me, but that was like my little side gig in middle school and high
I
school.
want that for my birthday.
Sorry, Deb, I'm not that good a writer.
So
sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. So then I majored in English Lit in college, but I was a single mom by the time I was 20. And after I went back to college, got my bachelor's degree finally, I wanted to go get my doctorate in English Lit and be a writer, like get my MFA, be a writer. And I was told, you're a single mom. This is not a viable career path. You need to do something else. So, that was 25 years ago. So last year, or not last year, last year, when I turned 50, I was like, I'm turning 50 this year. I'm going to take all these notebooks where they've been like crammed forever, and I'm going to start writing. So I took all those ideas and I wrote the first book in the Willow Creek series in last May. The second one came out in September, the third one in November, and I released the fourth one in April. Wow. And then this, the paranormal that's coming out next week, that was like a story I've always had in the back of my head too. So I wanted to write that trilogy as well. And then I also have a Victorian series that I'm working on. So
wow, you're living your best life.
No kidding.
I'm trying.
Well, you've said that you're usually working on 2 manuscripts at a time.
I am, at least 2 or 3 usually.
Obviously, since there's like some prolific writing going on here. How do you keep it all organized and like stay focused on what you're actually working on?
This is really old school, but I guess not necessarily old school. So I am what they call a plantser, right? So I develop the characters first, and I do a playlist for each of them, a mood board, and then develop their backstory, and then I start writing. So I have like an old school, college bound notebook for each one where I keep my outlines, right? So that, and I will often wake up in the middle of the night like, oh, this like character is like waking me up with this dialogue, right? And I'll write it in that notebook or whatever. But I do have separate notebooks for all of them, and I use Atticus. So every night after I get done writing, I back up whatever I'm writing into Atticus into whatever work it is. So
Do you ever like accidentally slip in a character in the wrong book?
I have not done that yet.
I think I would do that. That's why I'm asking.
So so it's so funny. So like I'm here for work, right? And we're doing like all this team building thing. And we just did the, what's it called? The Gallup Strengths.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
Strength
the
Finder.
Strength Finder, yeah.
Yeah, what
So-
are yours? I need to know.
So I had 3 in the strategic, which maybe explains why I don't.
That's mine too.
Yeah. So I had ideation was my number 1. My number 2 was strategy. My number 3 was self-assurance. My number 4 was connectedness. And my number 5, what was my number 5? Number 5 was input.
So we share 3 of the same top 5 strengths, which means we would either be BFFs or we would hate each other. But
Yeah, we would be the best.
yeah,
We would
we
be
would
like
get
listen,
shit
but
done
yeah.
though. It sounds
We
like
would get shit done.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah. And like but it's just so interesting. And I'm an ENFP, which is like the complete opposite, right, of most attorneys and most federal workers who are ISTJs. So, but also explains like why I needed the writing outlet, right? Because yeah. No wiggle room for creativity when you're a federal worker.
No wiggle room there at all.
None.
So
None.
tell us a little bit more about your novel, Way Down We Go.
So when I think I was in 6th grade or 7th grade, the first time I read this book by Morgan Llewellyn. So I read all of her books. She writes like historical fantasy about the Celts. And the first book I read by her was called Bard, Odyssey of the Irish, and was all about the Celts that settled Ireland. And I've like been obsessed with it since I read it like when I was like 12. So I've been obsessed with Celtic mythology ever since then. And I knew I wanted to write like a shapeshifter romance, paranormal, but I didn't necessarily want to write a monster romance because I love Presley Cole's Immortals After Dark series and Karen Marie Moning's Dark Fever series. So I kind of wanted to write something in that vein, but not necessarily a demon or a vampire or werewolf, right? So so this trilogy is going to be about Equisky, which are the Scottish water horses, who lured their victims to the water and drowned them. And
that is so
That's
cool.
so intriguing. Oh
I've
my
never heard anyone write about that.
No.
The only reason I know what that is because it's briefly mentioned for like 2 sentences in Outlander.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the only reason I know.
which I'm also an Outlander fan. So.
I mean, who's not a
Right.
Jamie Fraser
Right?
fan? I mean, none of us are dead, right? So
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because like I started reading them when the first book came out, right? Back in like 93.
yeah.
No, yeah. So so this was before the age of like where you could like pre-order stuff online, right? So I would like go to Barnes and Noble when I knew the new book was and like pre-order the hardback because I needed the hardback. I have all of them, like all of them in hardback. Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask a follow-up question
go
about the
ahead.
book? So
No.
the Way Down We Go is the title, correct? And it comes out next week. So
It comes out Tuesday.
It comes out Tuesday. Wonderful. So can you tell us a little bit more about like the love interest in there? Because you kind of is the water horse character the love interest?
He is. He is a prince of his kind, and he has been imprisoned for over 1,000 years because 1,000 years ago his brother was killed in front of him on a beach. He was betrayed by his beloved, and his uncle and aunt like usurped the throne and imprisoned him because they were afraid he would rally the remaining Equisky to revolt against them. So he's been in prison, but he's also part of this prophecy, right? That he has to find his mate, claim her, steal her, and sacrifice her. So, and he has to sacrifice her so that to prevent the environmental destruction of his islands from climate change.
Wow.
So
I'm like, fated mate or just destroy the island. I
Right.
think I
yeah,
fated mate.
exactly. So his love interest is actually his fated mate. She is she's a descendant, obviously, of like, she has that, they call it the brine in her blood of like the sea, so like the sea witch legacy, siren legacy. And she is a research librarian in modern day Chicago. And when his clan comes to him, or someone from his clan comes to him and says, "Hey, your fated mate is finally coming into her powers. We're going to free you so you can go find her." He ends up taking a position as like a maintenance guy in her apartment complex to get close to her, to convince her to come back to his islands with him.
I love this.
I know.
This is so unique and so fresh. Like I
Yeah.
can't. I mean, it's already going on my TBR. That's awesome.
Just
That is
thinking the
so
same thing.
Oh my God.
Add it to the list.
Goodreads. Is that rude?
So,
Is it rude during your interview for me to get on Goodreads to add your book?
No, it's fine. So, and if you want me to send you a book funnel, actually, it's still in Booksprout. If you want to, wait, maybe that might not be. Yeah, actually, yesterday might have,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
in
great.
Books, it's in Book Sirens. I know it's in Book Sirens.
Oh,
So,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll get on
yeah,
there.
if you wanna read the arc, it's in Book Sirens. So, or I'll send you a book funnel link. Just let me know if you want it.
We definitely.
yes.
So their meet cute is actually, so he's like been watching her, she's been watching him, like neither one of them knows they've been watching each other, right? And they get stuck in an elevator together and like things happen.
Things.
Very spicy things.
living it up while you're going down. Like
Yeah,
Going
exactly.
down while you're
Or
going
going
up.
down while you're going up.
Right,
Yeah, yes, that does happen. Which is fun. And there's actually I actually have NSFW art for that scene.
Who's your artist?
So her name is D Silva. I found her on
You
Instagram.
follow her too.
Do you? Okay, yeah. So she's my artist. Yeah,
Oh, she's awesome.
she's amazing. She does all my covers for the Willow Creek series too. Have you guys seen my covers for the yeah, so she does all those covers. She's done Not Safe for Work art for this one, for No Promises, and then the No Doubts, which is the next Willow Creek book coming out in October. So my trope, like if I have one trope, it's anywhere but the bed. Right? I love that. So obviously this Not Safe for Work art is the elevator scene. And then the No Promises one she did for me, like they get frisky against the hood of a car. So like there's that one.
I'm into it.
I am too.
New kink
and
unlocked.
yeah. And then the one coming out in October, it's a laundry room scene. So
Ooh.
It gets a little
like,
dirty.
on top of the washer. Yeah.
I'm here for it for sure.
Yeah.
So you did mention that you're a single mom, and
Not anymore. I was.
right,
Yeah,
but when you were starting writing, you were a single mom.
I was.
And apparently you mentioned that on you had your website mentions how others discouraged you actually from writing while you were struggling.
Yeah.
With working toward, like, so what kind of advice or something that would you give to other single moms who are struggling to work towards their dream?
I'm just saying you need to persevere and just not, like, even if you're not ready to publish, like never give up on your dream. So like even though I wasn't publishing, like I never stopped writing. So which is why I had all those notebooks, right? So I knew one day I would get there. So like have that confidence in yourself that you will get there someday, that you have the resources, you have the inner strength, you have the fortitude, you will get there. And okay, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but opinions are like, everybody has one.
Right.
So, yeah.
I hope you had other people that were encouraging. Did you have other people
I did. My husband is my biggest cheerleader. He's so cute. Like, he was like, so my last book that came out, like on my Insta, like I had the picture of him like holding it on the porch, and the whole reason that came about was because I was speaking to one of my fans, and he's like, after I got off him, he's like, I'm your biggest fan, right?
That's really sweet.
And he like reads everything I write. He gives me his input on like what's acrobatically possible and what's not.
I was just about to say my husband would be like, "You want to practice for that next chapter?"
So, Whitney has legit, when we've met artists or authors before, asked, so like, did you practice that sex scene before? Like,
Yes, we did.
You know, I say congratulations.
I know, right?
I
Yeah,
think that's
good for you.
fantastic. You have to make sure it's
I mean,
realistic, right?
I mean, that part all comes from experience. Right?
I mean, it has to, right?
Bravo. Bravo.
I want to say too about your husband, because when we did Imaginarium Book Festival in the spring, there were so many like hype people there for the authors, and not just husbands, but like best friends or significant others. And some of the most successful people in the room were someone that they had at their side, hyping them up the entire time. And so I love hearing that, because he's really going to continue to push your success. I think that's special.
Yeah, that is very special. I was gonna
He's
say
a great, like, he knows what my threshold is, right? So he's like, oh, you're in your writing zone. So we live in a tiny house on like 50 acres. So you guys are gonna laugh, but our living room, we have the hanging chairs, like the sky chairs. That's your furniture. So that's where I write. So he'll be like, oh, you're in your zone, here's your wine, honey, and like,
oh, that's awesome.
I love
My
that.
husband and I want to go RVing when we retire. So
oh my gosh, us too. Us
Yeah.
too. Us too. Yeah.
we're very excited about it. It's not that far away, but
For us either. Yeah. I'm like, cheers for me, baby. I know you gotta wait like 8, but
I think we're at 6 or 7. So yeah.
Yeah.
So on our podcast, we talk a lot about books, obviously, but also like what fandoms we're a part of, or things that we like that we fangirl over. So do you have any fandoms that you like to participate in, or any other nerdy things you like to do?
So I am an Austenite at heart. My favorite book of all time is Persuasion. Like of all time, period. Period. So I'm an Austenite. I love Outlander. I've loved it from the very beginning. I love Poldark. Not the books as much as the series.
Good series.
I love Immortals After Dark. I love like I said, I love the Fever series. You know, I don't think either series gets enough credit. I think they're amazing. So I love Amanda Boucher's Kingmaker Chronicles.
Okay,
series.
I have the first book in that series.
Oh my God, read it, please.
Okay, so it is blowing up right now. Like, I'm seeing it everywhere on Book Talk, and so I'm like, okay, maybe that's gonna be my next physical read, because it's sitting on my shelf.
It is. It's and so did you read the blurb or anything at all?
No.
So what I love about it is she takes Greek mythology and puts it in an alternate universe. So it's not like Scarlet St. Clair series or Katie Roberts. They're not gods and goddesses. They're like people who live in that world, who have powers invested in them by the gods. So to kind of like the grown-up version of Percy Jackson, maybe, but like, yeah.
But it has spice, right?
Oh my God, so much spice. There is a wall scene. Holy crap. Yeah.
And we're on the podcast.
And the thing I love about that series is, so you have an alpha male hero, right? But he also recognizes that the heroine is also alpha. And instead of being intimidated by that, he empowers her and celebrates it. And that is what I love the most about that series.
Ooh, awesome.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna put that book next to my bed when we get off this call.
And I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Yeah.
So, Andrea, we're going to do a speed round now, our nerdy and dirty speed round. So, I'm just going to give you some prompts, and we want you to give us just the first thing that pops into your head. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Last song you listened to.
So I am obsessed right now with Spherical by Flowerface. It's actually on the Way Down We Go playlist. Like, I listen to it like nonstop.
I don't know either of those.
I don't
like, add it to my Spotify list.
So the name of the song is Spherical. It's spelled just like Miracle, and the band is Flowerface.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. What fictional character do you have a crush on?
There are so many. So it's I guess probably so Griffin from Kingmaker Chronicles.
Yeah.
I would say Derek Craven from Lisa Kleypas's books, her Gamblers series. Who else? I would say Royce Westmoreland from Judith McNaught's Kingdom of Dreams. He was like my first book boyfriend. and also Gilbert Blythe from Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, I know.
I love Gilbert.
He was one of my first book boyfriends.
You know, I've never read that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
Well, I was reading Vampire Smut for the
Yeah.
very young age.
You skipped over that part.
Yeah.
Jonathan Crombie as Gilbert and that PBS version.
Yes, it's so good.
I mean, I
love it.
remember watching that PBS version and like being irritated that I had to watch through all the like telethon crap.
Same,
I was
same.
like, I just need more Gilbert. Come
Get
on.
back to Gilbert.
More Gilbert, less phone chain. Yeah.
Yes.
What is a book series you always recommend?
So Julianne Long's Pennyroyal Green series. And it's a historical romance, but her writing is absolutely incredible. And actually, the book club in Willow Creek, they are reading the Pennyroyal Green series. So every book so far is one of the books of the series, and the narrative of the story they're reading correlates to their own story that's like being played out in the book, in my book.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, that's awesome.
Nice.
Love
I love how you weave that in. That's great. What TV series should everyone watch?
Pole Dark. You guys haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I
I
haven't.
haven't either.
It's on PBS. So it's like set in 19th century Cornwall, and it's Aidan Turner is the hero, and you guys know he's drop
He
dead
is
gorgeous.
so pretty.
It's
Oh my
so
God.
pretty. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
A book character you would get nerdy and dirty with.
Definitely. It'd either be Jericho or Riordan from the Fever series. Probably both.
At the same time.
A food you refuse to eat.
Probably beets.
Beets are so good, except for not to get gross. They turn your poop red.
Which is
It really freaks me out.
You're like, am I dying?
I'm like, oh, here is that beets.
What paranormal power would you want to have?
I want like something Doctor Who-ish, or like you know how Hermione had like time turner. I would love to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So I could do like multiple things at one time.
Yeah, be more.
For never
productive.
hours of the day.
You could work on 4 manuscripts. instead of the 2.
No, they never took into account how tired that would make her.
Yeah.
Like you still only have a limited amount of
They
energy.
did make her cranky.
They did.
Well,
The longer the book went
I'm
on.
a lot crankier than that when I'm tired.
Well, that's true. Me too. Favorite weekend activity.
So without a doubt, so we have that tiny house, but it has a huge porch. So I love to sit on my porch with a glass of wine and either read or write and just like watch like all the wildlife at our pond.
That sounds amazing.
I know I'm jealous of that right now. Smut or plot.
I like spice, but I cannot stand smut for smut's sake. Like I need them to have an emotional connection.
Yeah.
So
With you on that one.
Lust, like I've written Insta Lust, but like they still have an emotional connection, right? Like, yeah. I don't like smut for smut's sake.
Favorite childhood book.
Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about rereading that, and now I'm like definitely want to reread
I
that.
work in a children's library at an elementary school, and girls are still reading it, and I recommend it all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's good.
And the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is my other one, probably.
Oh, I love that series so much. I tried to read it with my 9-year-old, that and Harry Potter, and he was like, "No, I hate this. This is weird. No, thank you." So we'll try again.
Have you guys read any Tessa Dare?
Mm-mm.
A historical romance author. So she has this book called Goddess of the Hunt. It was like her debut. So there's like a wardrobe scene in there. So I'm always like little like 8-year-old me, like what by Narnia. but like 35-year-old me wanted to find like the hot Duke in the wardrobe.
Yeah. I mean, I would take either one, honestly.
Right.
What are you currently reading, or what's the last book you finished and loved?
So I'm always reading a bunch of stuff. But I did want to hype one book that I recently finished because I feel like not all indie authors get like the love they deserve. So there's this indie author, her name's Elliot Fletcher. I just finished her book Whiskey Business last week, and I absolutely loved it. So it's like it's Grumpy versus Sunshine.
Nice.
She inherits her grandfather's farm that has like a whiskey distillery, and he's like trying to make a go of it. And she's like this famous model slash actress who's like trying to get away. Anyway, the spice, like he's also a carpenter. So he's got like hot lumberjack carpenter vibes.
Lumber snack. Oh, I love that.
Another one to add to my list.
I need a t-shirt that says I heart lumber snacks.
Lumber snacks.
I have a bookmark and a t-shirt.
Oh, that's great. And then last speed round question, cake or pie?
So pie, and every year for my birthday, my husband makes me chocolate peanut butter pie, and it's amazing.
Like from homemade, from scratch.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a keeper.
I mean, for
Definitely.
real.
25 years, and I'm not getting rid of him.
So now we have what we call 3 tough questions. And these are questions that are kind of about writing. So first, what is a scene that you edited out of any of your books, but you really wish that you could have kept it in?
So I have not done that yet.
Sorry.
So my books usually fall around between like 55 and 80,000 pages. Or sorry, 80,000 words, sorry.
Because 8,000 pages.
2,000 words. So like never more than
Right off my TBR.
longest, and it's at like 360. And that was because I wanted to establish like the lore, and everything that went,
Sure.
like was because there's a lot of world building. But I don't know if you guys have read Romancing the Beats, but it's this guide for romance writers, and it's like, you have certain beats you have to hit, and once you hit those beats, your story should be done. So I try to stick to that. So I usually don't like write in unnecessary scenes. I have like I have thought about like cutting out, because my intimate scenes are usually 10 to 12 pages. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're okay. with it.
Don't edit those.
We'll allow it.
but yeah, I don't edit those out.
Well, good. Keep it that way.
Yeah.
So next, what is a super specific detail that you know about one of your characters that doesn't really affect the story, but it's just something that makes you love them?
So my last Willow Creek book, Dax is the hero, and he is like, so he's stationed in Afghanistan when they meet. She's a medic, and he is like her brother's best friend, also like come to find out her the second in command of the company she's assigned to. But he is a bookworm, and his sisters like send him the Outlander books like one at a time so he can read them and like talk about them with his sisters over like Skype. So
I love that detail.
That is so cute.
But he's
Still single?
right? Imagine it, right? But he ends up, but he's like the strong silent type, so you wouldn't know that he had like that mushy, like bookwormy side, like so.
I love that. And it's a cute little like sibling connection thing too. I like that. And so then last tough question. What is a writing ritual that you have that might make you seem a little unhinged?
So I don't know this unhinged, but I've heard a lot of writers do this. So I write when I'm tipsy, I edit when I'm sober.
I kind of love that, honestly.
That's great though, because it gets you out of your own head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I joke with my husband. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm gonna say, I think like thoughts flow more freely, right? Because you're not, like you said, you're not stuck in your head. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I own a design company, and whenever I take gummies, I always tell my husband, I'm like, I'm such a good artist at that time.
We also drink on our podcast, and Deb always says it makes us funnier.
It does. So
Right?
right. Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you some random questions if you're cool with that.
Of course.
Okay. So what's the most embarrassing thing that you've ever said in a public setting?
I don't know that it's anything I've ever said, but I can tell you my most embarrassing moment ever. If you guys want to hear it, it's kind of fun.
Sure.
So I was in 7th grade, and it was like my first so it was my first summer I was going to marching band practice, and I had 3 younger siblings. So my mom like couldn't take me to practice because she had like got a pledge from this neighbor that they would take me with their kids. So she dropped me off at this house, and I'm like, oh, like the lights are out, and like she's like, no, this is where they live. So I went to the house, and this dog, like little Chihuahua, like starts barking at me. And then this lady comes out and like her curlers on like a robe and like freaks out. So my mom dropped me off at the wrong house.
So granted, I mean, in 7th grade for any of us, there weren't cell phones. So like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally when she stopped screaming, I was like, I'm for this family's house. She's like, oh yeah, you need to follow that long driveway and go back there and like go to their house.
How rude.
And
I
then
would never
it's-
yell at a kid.
Well, then
just
it's like a
ridiculous.
walk of shame,
Yeah.
like going up the long driveway. Like I went to the wrong house.
House, right?
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So, and you know, it's funny because I thought you were about to tell us a paranormal story when you said that. So I am really curious. Have you ever had any ghost or paranormal experience?
Oh God. So we have lived in 3 haunted houses. So I am not a fan. So literally the house we lived in, the last house we lived in before we bought our property now, we would be standing in the yard and you would hear jazz music. And this is like a very isolated country road, right in West Virginia. So we'd be standing in the yard and you would hear jazz music from like the 20s or 30s from nowhere and people arguing.
Oh my
just
God.
like out of nowhere. And like there's no one there.
Would have been like running and
That
screaming.
would yeah.
Whitney would have slept outside.
I probably would have. Honestly.
Like a little girl, we would see her like run around the corner of the house, or like you see her ponytail like go around the corner or something.
No.
You know?
That's a no for me.
So we saw mom a couple of times. Like there was one upstairs bedroom, like a certain time of the day, if the light was like through the window, just right, you'd see her outline, and like she had on like a Edwardian, like the long pencil skirt, you know, and like the blouse that buttoned up with like the collar and the like blouse on sleeves.
That's not a little bit
Yeah.
haunted. That's really
Yeah,
fucking
that's a
haunted.
lot of hauntedness.
Gosh.
So our neighbors didn't or one neighbor didn't believe us, and he was like, oh no, you're full of crap, it's not really that. He's like, I want you to show me, like I'm gonna take my recorder and I'm gonna go in there and you're gonna show me. So my husband's like, fine, you don't believe me. So you know how people get cocky and arrogant when they like don't. So he had his little recorder out. He went upstairs with the recorder and he was like shouting at whatever was up there, right? He's like, I'll show you stuff. I don't believe you're real, like, you know, cursing.
Yeah, that's how you get a woman to show herself.
Yeah.
And that showed themselves. So there was more than the two. Those were the 2 nice ones. So all of a sudden, like you heard this like really loud like banging noise, and like the door started like banging back and forth, and you heard like this weird like noise. So that he recorded on his phone, and when he played it, and so he left his shoes. He ran out of there too fast.
Serves him right.
So we did burn white sage in the house, like
I was just about to ask if you did anything.
and that we had to do it quite frequently though. So anyway, when he played it back, the voice, when you said it was actually saying "get out."
Oh, well, they didn't want to put up with his bullshit. I don't blame them.
I mean, I feel like I need a priest right now to come and like just bless the conversation. There's no way I would have lasted more than 24 hours in that house.
I promise.
Right, and I come to find out that like that the mother and the daughter, she was a victim of incest from her father. So the daughter was the incestuous offspring, and he put them both to get rid of them.
Oh gosh.
They all like haunted the house.
Well, of course they did. They're pissed. I
Yeah.
don't blame them. Okay, so since you can live in a haunted house, I'm assuming you've got a really good zombie apocalypse plan, do you?
We do. We've had bug out bags for I don't know how long. And my one of those guys, like a jack of all trades, right? Like he can fix my washing machine, he can fix my pencil sharpener, he can fix my car, like he can like jerry rig like anything, right? So
That sounds like my husband, actually.
Yeah, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to Mindy's house.
we live on 50 acres. We raise most of our own food. Yeah, so we're very like self-sufficient.
That's awesome. Well, maybe we'll just come to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's not haunted.
Yeah.
I'd rather die in the zombie apocalypse than live in a haunted house.
That's why we were like, I was like, no, we are not like buying a house So we ordered our cabin from the Amish, and they brought it on like a flatbed truck, and then like folded it out and like put it up on the things.
Oh, I love that.
That is
That's
awesome.
really cool.
Okay,
So
so earlier I joked because we have the same strengths that we'd be like enemies or best friends. I think we'd be best friends. You're
I
so
think we-
cool. Okay, so I do want to ask you just a couple of questions about your book and find out a little bit more about what you've got going on this year. So I think you answered this, but can you just reiterate for our listeners, what are you writing next?
So Way Down We Go, which is the first paranormal, comes out Tuesday. The 5th book in the Willow Creek series comes out October the 13th. So that is a grumpy sunshine, age gap, single dad. She got laid off during the pandemic. She finds out she's has half ownership in her aunt's weird bed and breakfast in this little town. So that's coming out October 13th. And then my first so I did a Victorian era novella last year. I made it into a full-length book. So that first book is coming out October 31st. It's called When Araminta Grieves Traded Her Dignity for Bliss. So it's all about the heroine. She's like lived her life like sacrificing for other people. Like her father pawned her off to like his elderly the squire that owned like the property in the county in exchange for as like part and parcel of the squire getting her prize herder border collies that she raised. So the squire's dead. She's like living on the sufferance of her horrible stepson and his wife, and like kind of governess for their kids. And she she falls asleep in the barn with like the newest batch of puppies, and like when she wakes up she's like leaning against a dude who is like the love interest.
Oh, that's puppies and dude. Okay. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
So,
who is also a single dad, like, because I love single dads.
yeah, there is something about that. So I know that we're going to get to see you in Less Than the Low Country in October, but what other events or festivals do you have coming up in the next year or so?
So I'm doing the Indie Romance conference in Lebanon, Tennessee in November. And then I'm going to be at Rare Paris next year, and also Steamy LitCon and like in August, or no, I think they're doing it. I'm trying to remember when they're doing next year. Anyway, I'm on their roster. And then also hopefully Less Than Low Country again. And I'm on the Polycon wait list, so I don't know if I'll be there or not, but I will be there, but like not for that, because so my historical romance friends and I started a thing last year called Spill the Tea. So where we have a dinner, we sell 50 tickets, we have a dinner, we have historical romance authors come, like there's like you're at a table with like 10 readers and they answer all your questions, and like it was really cool. Last year was the first one. So, but we had it in conjunction with the Polycon because there are a lot of Histrom readers that like come to a Polycon. So
that sounds awesome.
That's a great idea.
What is that? So since you have all of these amazing books coming out, where can we buy them?
So actually all the buy links are on my website. So it's andreajenelleromance.com. But right now the Willow Creek series is in KU, like in KDP. It's only there until the end of summer, and then I'm taking it out, releasing it wide. But you can buy the paperbacks. So you can buy the paperbacks either from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or from me. And if you get them from me, like you get the signed copy and all the swag, because I have like stickers and like art prints and like all that stuff that comes with it too.
Fun.
So
cool.
Awesome.
So where can we find you online? I know you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
So it is Andrea Jenelle. Andrea Jenelle Romance is my Instagram handle. I'm also on TikToks at I Hype Romance, and I have a reader Instagram as I Hype Romance. So I'm also on Twitter and Threads. I'm on BookBub. I'm on what are all the other platforms? Like I'm on Facebook. So all the links to all that stuff, like when you open up my webpage, like all the links to all that stuff is like right there across the bottom. So
is there an Instagram page for the historical romance dinner that you do, or how do people find out more about that?
Yeah, there is. It's actually is it Heart Events? I think it's Heart Events. But if you look if you go to my my reader page, which is I Hype Romance, I think I have and like what are those things, the little icons at the top? You can't do them anymore. what are they?
I don't know
Yeah.
what they're called. I just call them icons.
Yeah. Unforced the tea that like kind of gives you the information. But I want to say it's like heart tea events or heart romance events, something like that. Because there were so many that were taken. We were like, what are we?
Right. Yeah, Bookstagram, all the romance
Oh, yeah.
handles are taken for sure. So one thing that we do on our podcast every single week to end it is we talk about our nerdiest thing of the week, and it can be something that we've done or something we were excited about. And so we would love to hear what your nerdiest thing of the week is.
So I actually had a countdown going for Happiness is for Beginners. So because the Netflix adaptation came out last week. So like as I had it queued, and as soon, because I love that book. So as soon as I knew it was coming, I was like, I was on it. Like,
Watching it like midnight when it came up. Oh my gosh, I love
awesome.
it. I love it so much.
That's great.
We can't thank you enough for being here today. It has been such a blast getting to know you. And we definitely would love to grab drinks or something at Less Than the Low Country in the evening when everyone's free.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I would love to hang out with you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you, and we'll see you in just a couple of months.
I'm so excited.
Us too.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.